Hi, welcome back to our lecture videos about assessment. In this video, we will try to make Google Forms as Google Quiz. I will walk you through on how to add questions, on how to generate correct answers, how to shuffle options, how to shuffle the questions, and how to share the Google Forms to your students or to your respondents. So this is the first thing that you would see if you're going to open a Google Forms. So there are many ways to access the Google Forms. We can access it to our drive. So this is an empty drive. So we can click the new, and then we are going to click the Google Forms. And then we are going to have this blank form, blank quiz, or template. Let us begin with this blank form, and it will open us to a new page. So this is the Google Forms. So let us try to understand the face of Google Forms or the platform of the Google Forms. So we have here the question menu, and we also have here the responses, and we also have here the settings. So to make this as a Google quiz, so we just have to turn this on. So it will become a quiz immediately. You have noticed the total number of points shows up, and there is 1 point we have already in this Google form. So the first thing that we are going to do if we are going to make a Google form is to make this a titled form. Because if you have noticed, this is an untitled form. So we are going to name this as sample test items. And it tells us that all changes are saved in the drive immediately. So what I'm doing is I'm going to click this as a star, or I'm going to consider this as a star, because if I'm going to search this in the Google Drive, I just have to click the star, and it will show the list of stars that I made, so that I can search these Google Forms immediately. And I'm going to organize this to our Google Drive by clicking this folder. So this is my drive. So there are a lot of folders that you can see. So we are going to find this sample. And we are going to click this one and move here. In this case, this is already saved in our Google Drive sample since we created it from Google Drive. So look at this. So you have there the Google Drive, and this is our sample. So we are going to make this as a quiz. So we are going to add questions. So we have here, we will begin with collecting the data of the student. So we are going to have here complete name. So if you have noticed from multiple choice, it changes immediately to short answer because our Google Forms has artificial intelligence. So if you are going to write your question, it will give us a suggestion on what is the right type of test we are going to use. So if you are going to click this, there are types of questions we can utilize. So in this one, we have this as short answer. And we are going to click this answer key because, of course, for name, there are no points. So we are going to make this as 0 points. And we are going to make this as required so that students will not skip this one. And if we are going to add a new question, we are going to click this plus. So let us say student number. So as you have seen, from multiple choice, it changes immediately to short answer. And if we are going to click this ellipsis, so we have here description. So we are going to write a description, write your student number. This is optional, no, because as you have seen, this is redundant. And if you are going to click this, again, the ellipsis, there is a response validation, meaning you can set a condition. So we will only accept number because there are other types that we can accept. Let us say text, length, and regular expression, and we will only accept number. And still, we are going to change this 1 point into 0 because there are no scores for student number. The next thing we are going to gather is we are going to collect the grade, level, and section. So it changes immediately to short answer. So there are other ways to have this one aside from short answer. Let us say we can have the drop down. So let us say grade 7, section 1 or section A. We are going to add a new option. Let us say grade 7, section B. Or let's have this, another one, grade 8, section A. So let us assume that these are the classes that you are handling. So grade 8, section B. So if they are going to click this one, so this they will be grouped immediately according to their grade level and sections. But if you're only handling one section, you may not gather this. So these are the basic data that we are going to gather. We are going to get their complete name, student number, grade level, and section. So we are now ready for our questions, and I'm going to make a new page by adding this add section. So I'll have here multiple choice questions. Before I forget, we have to remove the number of points in grade level and section because there are no points for that. So we are now ready for the multiple choice question. So we are going to have this direction. Choose the button that corresponds to the correct answer. So we are now ready to add questions. So I've prepared here questions in Google Docs. So these are the questions I have here. So I have prepared here 5 questions. So we can just have the copy and paste. So we are going to copy this. So I'm not going to include the number 1 because my plan is to shuffle the question order later. So that is the first question, which best define assessment? And we are going to copy and paste these options. So we will only click option 1 and then paste. So if you have noticed, all the options are ready. So if we are going to click this ellipsis, we have here shuffle option order. It means that it will be rearranged to every student. So our letter A will be letter B to our students A, and our letter B might be placed to letter D. So we are going to shuffle the option order. If we are going to have that one, we need to remove this A, B, C, D so that it is not very obvious. So we are going to remove this one because we are going to shuffle the option order. And we have to set an answer key. So we can adjust the number of points, let us say 2 points, but I advise, and I will only use 1 point per item. So the question is, which best defined assessment? And the correct answer for this is gathering information about students to make decisions. So if you have noticed, there is a check mark. That means this is the accepted correct answer. We can also click this one. It means there are 2 correct answers, 3 correct answers, or all of the above. But that's why we have to be cautious that we will only select one as the correct answer. And once the correct answer is set, we are going to click done. And we are now ready to move to our next item. So if you have noticed, the total number of points turned into 2. Okay, let us remove this one first. So there is 1 point. And if we are going to add this question, 2 points already. So we are now ready to add our question number 2. So we are going to copy this one and we are going to paste it here and we are going to copy our options. So click option number 1, then paste, then all the options are here. And the same thing, we are going to shuffle the option order and I will be removing the A, B, C, and D. The preparation is relatively tedious and time consuming. However, once you have completed this, this is very easy to check and this is very easy to gather data. So we just have to click the answer key to provide the correct answer. The question is, why do experts recommend a variety of instruments and techniques of evaluation? The correct answer is they allow different domains to be evaluated more adequately. And we are going to choose this as the correct answer and we are going to click done. And we are now ready to add another question. The same thing, the same process that we are going to do. We are going to copy this question and we are going to paste it here in the question and then copy the options. So you just have to repeat the process. We are going to shuffle the option order and we are going to remove the A, B, C, D. If ever you don't want to shuffle the option order, you can have the A, B, C, D, or you may not have the A, B, C, D. It's optional. And we are going to click this answer key to indicate what is the correct answer. The main objective of testing in teaching is to assess students' learning and the effectiveness of instruction. And we are going to click done. So we already included 3 questions for these Google Forms. Total number of points is 3. That means we already have 3 questions in these Google Forms. So we are going to add our 4th question. We just have to repeat the process. Copy this one and paste it here on the question. So let us look at this. So it is presented in 2 columns. So if we are going to have this, we will have problems. So we copy this one and we paste it here. So look at that. So option C and D will not be selected by the student. So let us remove this one first. Let us erase this one. Let us try to change the arrangement of this. So this should not be placed here. It should be placed below measurement. We'll have that one. And the evaluation should be placed below the assessment, which is letter D. So we are going to remove this evaluation and we are going to copy these options and go back to our Google Forms and then paste it here. There, you can see the arrangement. And we are going to shuffle the option order and set the correct answer. The answer is assessment. And we already have 4 points and we are now ready to add our last question. Just have to copy this one. And the options, we just have to copy the options again and paste it here. We are going to shuffle the option order and we will be removing the A, B, C, and D. The correct answer for our question number 5, the correct answer is this one. Teaching and evaluation are complementary and interdependent aspect of the same learning process, and we are going to click done. So we are done with our Google Forms. We just have to look into the settings. So in settings, we already made this as a quiz. We can have this as our option. We are going to immediately release after each submission. So for example, one student completed the activity and he will receive his scores or her scores immediately, or you can have this later after manual review. What I'm usually doing is using this later after manual review. You can have this that when you return their Google Forms, they can see their missed questions or correct answers or point values. You can have this turned off or you can have it turned. And default question point value. So we have 1 point and responses. So we are going to click this arrow. There's a drop down button. So we are going to have this collect email address. So this is very useful if you are going to release their grades immediately. Send responders a copy of the responses. So the default one is off. Sometimes I have this when requested. So at the end of the Google Forms, when they are ready to submit, so they will be asked if they are going to request a copy or not. Most of the time, I use this one always because there are some students who make stories that they have completed, but actually they have not submitted. So this is actually the receipt that they have completed the Google Forms. Allows response editing. If you want them to change their answer after submission, so you can turn this on. But since this is a quiz, we are going to turn this off. And we will restrict this one to Bukidnon State University, meaning only students with the domains of at bookso.edu.ph can only access this one. But if you want, say for example, personal emails to access your Google Forms, you can turn this off. And you have this limit to one response. If you will turn this on, so there's only one response, meaning they cannot submit other answers. If they have submitted their Google Forms and they want to answer again, it will show up that they have responded to this Google Form, so they cannot access it anymore. On the presentation, we are going to turn this on, show progress bar. While they are going to answer the Google Form, a progress bar is and we are going to shuffle question order. Usually I'm turning this on so that question number 1 will be shown as question number 5 to other students, and question number 4 will be the first question of other students. So we are going to shuffle the rearrangement. And after answering, they are going to receive this. Your response has been recorded. We can edit this one, your response. Let us say, thank you so much for your time in answering these Google Forms. God bless. So we can have this and save. So after they have answered the Google Form, so they will receive this message and show link to submit another response. It is turned off because we already set limit to one response above. So we are done with our settings. So let us look at our responses. So 0 responses as of the moment. So before we are going to send the Google form to our respondents or students, we are going to try this out. So the icons above here, first one, these are the add-ons. So if you have not installed add-ons, this will not show in your Google Forms. This one, this is the area where we can customize the theme. We can change the color like this one. And look at the Google Forms. It changes as I click the theme color. And we also have here the background color. And if we are going to go back to the questions, we can change the font style. So we have the basic, we have the decorative, we have this formal, we have this playful. But most of the time, I use the basic because this is very easy to read and this is friendly. And we can also have here, we can add a header and we can choose an image. So there are free templates that is available in Google Forms. So you can choose from, you just have to select from here. We are going to select this work and school, and we are going to choose this one. And we are going to insert this. But you can upload your own or you can have your photos. But again, we are going to use this from the Google Forms. So we click insert and it will appear on top of the Google Forms. So we are going to close this one. And it is now time to preview, or we are going to try this out. It is very important to try out your Google Forms before sharing it to your students or your respondents. So this is the sample test item. This is the title. So as you have noticed, we will provide first the student number because we shuffle the question order, and we are going to provide, let us say, letters. There is an error message that must be a number greater than 0 because if you have noticed, we included a restriction that we will only accept a number, let us say this one. So the error message is gone, meaning this answer will be accepted. And we are going to choose one grade level and section. So this is the drop down option. So let us say grade 7 section A, and we are going to have this complete name. So this is the progress bar that I'm telling about. So we are done with page 1. We are now ready to move to page number 2. So we just have to click this next. And we are now here in the multiple choice questions. And direction is choose the button that corresponds to the correct answers. The respondents would recognize how many points per item, but all of our questions are 1 point only. So we'll try to answer this by random. And we are going to click submit. So this is the message after completing. Thank you so much for your time in answering the Google Forms. God bless. And we are done with trying out our Google Forms. We will go back to our Google Forms. Now look at here in the responses tab. We have one response. So let us try how many points we got by answering it randomly. We only have 1 point out of 5 questions. So the grade is not released. So if we are going to release this, so it will be sent to the email address that we have collected. So these are the analytics that I'm talking about from the very beginning. So we can see the score is 1 out of 5 only. We have the average or the mean, median, and we also have the range. And we also have here graph, meaning there's only one response that is only coming from grade 7 section A. So you would know how many students responded from each grade level and sections. In this area, we can see the items that students got it correctly or the options that they choose. So we can recognize the items that are heavily missed by the students that probably we can emphasize in our classes. So I believe we are now ready to send these Google Forms to our students. So we will click this send, and then we can send this via email, or we can have this as a link. Usually I'm shortening the link, shorten URL, and this is the one that I am copying, and I will share this in Messenger, or I will upload this in Facebook, or I will upload this in our Messenger groups, and students will be able to access this if they have an internet connection, and they can answer this immediately. And that's all for today. I hope you learned something on how to make and edit your Google Forms.